Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and yes, a Christmas card in January. I took a poll, not quite a month ago I guess it'd be, on my Facebook page and possibly on my blog asking if everyone would be willing to continue seeing random Christmas cards throughout the next year. So I would do maybe just one or two a month, and then obviously do a whole bunch of them, late October, November, like I usually do. So I will have a very huge playlist of Christmas cards this year. So the overwhelming 99% response was yes, which is good because I have tons of Christmas product to use that I bought last year and haven't had a chance to even touch it. So I started off with this Simon Says stamp. This is the Magical Christmas stamp set. I love this specific stamp here. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. So I stamped it on some gray cardstock with Simon Says clear ink that I had treated the cardstock with the anti-static powder tool first. And then I'm embossing it with Ranger's super fine detail gold embossing powder. And this is one of the finest embossing powders I own. It's very, very fine. And it has an interesting kind of texture look to it. It looks almost gritty, basically. And I kind of like that. So I wanted to use that for this because I was curious to see too if I would still be able to retain the detail, because this stamp, when you stamp it, there is some fine words and stuff superimposed in it. But even with this super fine embossing powder, I kind of lost that detail, but that's okay because you'll be able to see it on the inside. So anywho, I stamped it, I embossed it, and then I die cut it with the coordinating die. And then I die cut some white cardstock with the largest die from the Simon Says Stitch Rectangle set. And then I pulled out the Echo Park Deck the Halls 6x6 papers, and I die cut those with the Simon Says Stitched Circle wafer dies. And the color combo I'm using is this week's Color Throwdown Challenge. This was also why I went with a Christmas card, because the inspiration photo, the minute I looked at it, I thought of this stamp set, and I was like, I need to make a Christmas card. So there's literally, as of uploading this, there's 1 or 2 days left to participate in this week's challenge, because I'm late because I updated my programs on my computer, and my Final Cut Pro, that's what I use to edit my videos, is different. Everything's in a different place. I'm having a heck of a time trying to find all of my little commands and stuff. I'm struggling. So I'm late as usual with my video, but we're getting there. So anywho, I die cut the pattern paper, and then I die cut the Merry Christmas script word from some red cardstock. This is also from Simon Says Stamp. I love this die. I just love it. So I die cut it 3 times from the red cardstock and stack them all together with my multi-medium matte adhesive. I always just apply the adhesive to the thickest areas of the sentiment. I don't bother coating the entire sentiment. 1, that takes too long, and 2, it's totally unnecessary. So once that was all stacked, the 3 layers, I'm going to adhere these circles to the white cardstock background that I had die cut. And then I was thinking, as I was looking at this, I was like, ooh, I need to bring in some splatter to go with the gold embossing on the deer head there. So I pulled out my Prima metallic little watercolor here, and I sprayed these 2 shades of gold with just my Distress Spray. I just added water to it, let it sit for about a minute, and then mix it up really, really well with my paintbrush. These types of watercolors, I think they're kind of any metallic type watercolors are pretty much the same in this way, in that you need to basically activate them. You won't get very much pigment if you just got your brush wet and then touched your brush to the watercolor. So I like to let it sit for a little bit, and then I really basically mix it up with my brush to pull out the pigment. And the more you mix it and the longer it sits, the thicker it'll get. So mix that up on an acrylic block and mix the 2 colors together to get the shade of gold I wanted. And then I pulled out my color cubby and then vigorously splattered all across the background all of that color I had pulled out. I had originally meant to only do kind of just a fine little splatter, and then I was like, yeah, no, I'm using it all. So did that, set it aside to dry. My card base is some more heavyweight white cardstock that I had cut the sheet in half, so it's 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it at 5 1/2 with my Teflon bone folder. So it's a top folding A2 sized card. And before I finished the outside of it, I thought I might as well stamp the inside. So I pulled out my Misty for this because I wanted to stamp the silhouette image again, and like I said, there's all this fine detail in it, in the words and that, so I wanted to make sure I had this stamped, and I had a feeling I'd probably need to stamp it twice with the dye ink. So I'm using Simon Says, is this their Stone Smoke ink, and stamped it once, and it was pretty decent, and it would smooth out more, but I wanted it to be perfect. So I inked it up a second time and then stamped that into place there. That's why I love the Misty. It just makes my life so much easier. So did that, and then the sentiment is from the Christmas Essential stamp set. And it's kind of hard to see on camera. It's such a fine sentiment. Like, the wording is just, it's very handwritten looking and just really nice. And it says, "May this season hold for you the hope, wisdom, and amazement that you felt as a child." And I just love that. So I used my Misty again to line that up perfectly, inked it up with some red ink, and then stamped on the inside of the card. And then to finish off this card, I'm going to adhere my embossed deer here with just my Tombow Mono Multi. And then once that's adhered, I'm going to adhere the sentiment with the multi-medium matte again. And I chose the matte for this because it's being a sentiment and it's smaller areas that if any of the glue oozes out, it'll dry matte and clear. You won't be able to see it. Whereas Tombow Mono Multi, I use for larger pieces of cardstock, things like that, because there's less chance of it oozing out. Because Mono Multi, if it oozes out the sides of anything, it will become tacky when it dries, and you don't want that at all. So that's why I choose different sentiments for different things. So I pressed the sentiment into place and then got the dot on the eye, and then I actually just held it with my fingers pressed down while it dried because it was uneven from the layers of pattern paper and the deer head or whatever. So did that, and then I popped this onto my card with some foam tape. That finished off my card. So as always, I will have links to all my supplies used in the description box below the video, as well as a link to my blog post, all the pictures, the color challenge, all that info will be in the description box below, so check it out if you're interested. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribing, thumbs upping, and commenting on my videos. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all very soon in another video. Bye!